All right, she's definitely, without a doubt, one of our favorites on the Diamond Envy podcast. She's former Sooner pitcher and color voice for OU softball, DJ Sanchez. DJ, OU off to the championship series again for the third consecutive season. I don't think that anyone was surprised that OU responded after that 7-3 loss to UCLA with a win. But were you even surprised that they responded with the biggest win in women's college world history against a program like UCLA?
I'll be honest, after that loss yesterday, I had no doubt. I was very confident, not arrogant, but very confident. I had a feeling it was going to go well. The way that they went about it definitely made a statement. I think putting up 15 runs in the fashion that they did and the performance that Hope Troutwine put out there was absolutely awesome. I think it just shows how well this team responds. They aren't doing and haven't done what they've done all season by accident. It's because they have this unbelievable thing about them to be able to face adversity and come out and just absolutely annihilate people when they get a little bit ticked off.
Yeah, it seemed like the story nationally after that 15-0 win was Jocelyn Allo, and rightfully so. I mean, she had 7 RBIs. She was great. But you mentioned Hope Troutwine. And we're not talking about her enough for that performance yesterday because I think it was really important. Backs against the wall, you lose and you go home. She's just been so solid for this team in the postseason. And I've thought this for a while, but I really think it now, DJ. However Patty chooses to use her, I mean, clearly she's going to get the most innings moving forward. She just looks like she's poised to lead this team to a championship in the circle.
Absolutely. And she's just getting better. I was so impressed with her in regionals and super regionals. And, there were all these questions about Jordy Ball and what's that going to look like? How's this pitching staff going to respond? And Hope Troutwine has really taken this pitching staff on her back a little bit. And I know Nicole May had a little bit of a rough day yesterday, but Nicole May has been really good in this postseason. Part of the reason this team is standing where they are right now is because of what Nicole May has done as well. So the way that Hope came out yesterday and it felt like there was a calm around the team when she was in the circle yesterday. It was really good to see, but she just looked like she was having fun. I loved the fact she was out there in inning 1. Now it's a lot easier to have a smile on your face when you're already up walking in at the bottom of the first, but just big smile, throwing freely and just having a good time. It was really awesome to watch.
Yeah. We saw all 3 pitchers yesterday, so I feel like we have a decent idea of how Patty's going to handle the rotation moving forward in the championship series. How do you think it's going to look game 1, game 2, and if necessary, game 3?
I think so much of it depends on how Jordy feels. I mean, she looked good yesterday. She shut UCLA down. I know she gave up the bomb in the 7th, but she looked good. She looked smooth. She was consistent. She was throwing strikes. The movement was there. So that was good to see. I think the big question is, how does she feel today? And after not throwing for almost a month, really, in a game, having that adrenaline, I'd be curious to know what she's feeling, because I'm sure she's feeling it a little bit today, and how effective she's going to be into tomorrow, Thursday, and hopefully not Friday, but over the next couple of days. But I expect to see Hope tomorrow. Although, I mean, I know she just threw against Texas on Saturday. So I have questions. I'd be lying if I sat here and said, I know who coach is going to throw, or I've got a really feeling on who she's going to throw. I think that there's going to be some inner workings of how things are kind of going today with how Jordy feels and how Hope's feeling as well. I mean, she's thrown a lot of pitches this week.
Yeah, G. Juarez threw a lot of pitches last year in that back end of the Women's College World Series. Could you see a situation here if this series goes 3 games where Hope Troutwine throws or starts all 3 games?
Yes and no. I think so much of it depends on how Jordy feels. And also, Nicole May's not down and out. Nicole May has been really good this season. Do I think Texas is the best matchup for her? We'll see. I think that the way that Nicole throws, I think sometimes she can run into some of those Texas bats, but that doesn't mean she can't be effective against them. And I think we're going to see Nicole May as well. I think, if we need her. So, just because she had not the best outing yesterday, she's so tremendous and has been tremendous this season. So I think it's going to take all 3 of them in some way, shape, or form. Exactly what that looks like, it might be Hope starting every single game and Nicole and Jordy come in and slam the door. But I think it just depends on how everyone's feeling today.
This team's played 4 games in the Women's College World Series, and in 2 of those, the offense has delivered a haymaker in the top of the first inning. Yesterday against UCLA, and then against Texas on Saturday. It's simple question, complicated answer. How do you attack this offense right now if you're a pitcher?
You better change speeds. And the teams that have been successful, I've been able to see, I mean, Baylor had some success against this offense. We've seen Texas, Oklahoma State do it, UCLA yesterday, and they all had one thing in common. They changed speeds, and they kept them honest on both sides of the plate. That's really, that's any offense. You've got to work both sides and change speeds. That's facing anybody, but especially this team, they make adjustments so well. And that's what makes them so good. Are they tremendous hitters? Absolutely. But the way that they adjust in game is so hard to teach. And the way that they adjust inning to inning is impressive. So I'd say quit throwing to Jocelyn Allo, but you got to face TRA Jennings on the backside of that. So have fun with that. Pick your poison, I think, is about where you're at with that lineup. So if Jocelyn Allo doesn't beat you, someone else in that lineup is, and that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
So
I felt like Oklahoma State really handled Texas during the regular season and in the Big 12 tournament. Were you shocked, as the rest of us last night, that Texas found a way to win twice?
I'm going to be honest, that was hard to watch. That second game was tough to watch. I walked away after game 1 truly expecting Oklahoma State to win. Kelly Maxwell is really she's one of the best in the country. I've been so impressed with her this season, and the way that she attacks hitters. I think you could see a little bit of fatigue with her setting in. Oklahoma State their bats weren't as hot as we've seen them. I know that they put up 5 runs yesterday, but timely hitting, I think, has been an issue for them against Texas this week. But it was tough to watch them lose essentially on a couple of misplayed balls. It was tough, but hey, we'll take a Red River.
Sure.
I think, I'm gonna be honest. I think that the way that OU has taken care of Texas so far this season, I have a good feeling about it. But the Bedlam, I was selfishly sort of looking forward to a Bedlam rivalry, but we'll take the Red River.
I think we were all selfishly looking forward to a Bedlam rivalry for sure. The crowds are still going to be amazing, but what might have been, I guess, if you had that Bedlam matchup. But speaking of OU Texas, and I think we would both agree this is going to be a challenging series. I mean, Texas is one of the hottest teams in the country right now, no doubt. I think OU definitely has an edge offensively with their lineup. But does Texas have an edge at all in this series? Where do you think that they're the most dangerous coming in this championship series?
What I think makes Texas dangerous right now is that they're playing their best softball of the season. I think that makes any team dangerous. The way that Texas has gone through this postseason and has really, they're playing their best softball at the right time. I mean, you can always hope for that as a coach and as a team. But Texas is truly, they've peaked from regionals. The fact that they knocked off Arkansas in the way that they did. I know they took a tough loss to OU earlier this week, but the fact that they came back, double dipped Oklahoma State and are just playing the way that they are. I think that one of the things that OU has in their favor is Dulcini has thrown a lot of pitches. I know Czech yesterday throwing as well. So they've had to put together a lot more innings as a staff, which I think fares in OU's favor. One thing that truly Texas is doing much better. I know that they're a good defensive team, but I really feel like something that was an Achilles for them early in the season, their defense was making some really critical mistakes that was costing them some runs and some games. And they've really kind of cleaned that up. And when they start getting the sticks going, like we've seen here lately, they're something to deal with. They're tough.
You know, if OU does indeed go on and win the national championship, the Women's College World Series MVP, good luck. Good luck on that vote. I think you've got 3 legit candidates. I think Tiare Jennings is definitely that. I think Jocelyn Allo is definitely that. I think Hope Troutwine is definitely that.
No question.
Do you have an opinion on who your MVP would be up to this point for OU?
I think it's hard to get here without hope.
Yeah.
And again, the biggest question mark for the Sooners walking into postseason was, what is this staff going to do without Jordy Ball? Because she's thrown all the big games. And Hope Troutwine has stepped up. She has absolutely stepped up in a big way. I think it's going to come down to how this championship series rolls out. I guess that's how we're gonna decide who the MVP is. But all very well deserving. And even, Grace Lyons, Jada Coleman, I mean, take your pick. They've all just been really playing well in this postseason.
The whole lineup has contributed. I mean, there's no doubt. The whole lineup has contributed. And one player in particular that I've really loved this tournament, and not that she wasn't great during the regular season, but I feel like Riley Boone gives a different element to this team that maybe anyone else can just because of her speed. When she's playing this well, just how much more potent is OU's offense when you got a player like that can steal second or third base at any time?
What has impressed me so much with Riley Boone is the fact that whether she's getting on by hitting a single or hitting a double in the gap, laying down a bunt, whatever it is, she's drawing walks. She's getting hit by pitches. She is finding ways to be on base. And any rally, I feel like, that has happened for the Sooners, not just at this Women's College World Series, but also in the Supers, in the regional, Riley Boone has been a part of that in some way, shape, or form, whether it is her getting a hit or she has just been on base or having a good at-bat to kind of start the rally and be a spark. She is just an absolute spark plug for this team. And I love, love, love seeing her in the 8 and Jana Johns in the 9. There's not a single team in the country that wants to deal with those two in the 8-9.
What are the crowds on TV have looked amazing. Have the crowds lived up to what your expectations were going into this thing so far?
It is so awesome. I mean, and the fact that people are there, I think the most awesome part of all of this is it's the middle of the week. Yesterday, 11 a.m. on a Monday, and the place is packed. And you're kind of going, did everyone take off work? Is everyone lying about where they're at? Like, are they trying not to get caught on TV? No, it's really awesome to see. And it's so family oriented. There's so many young softball players in the stands, which that makes me so happy to see not just what OU as a team and these players have done for the sport, but what every single one of these teams are doing for our sport. It's absolutely amazing to see how far college softball has come and that it's continuing to bleed down into these young girls who are going to be, their goal is to stand on that field one day. So it absolutely is amazing to see.
Last one, and kind of on that, I got a question for you personally. Just being able to be somewhat a part of it, being on the radio broadcast and kind of being alongside of this incredible journey this year. What has that been like for you personally to get like a real feel of an inside look of this season, how everything's happened?
I have been so fortunate. I actually told Plank over the years, I have been lucky enough to be on the call in some way, shape, or form for every national championship except for 17 and 2000.
Wow.
So I am just so humbled that I am still allowed to be a part and in any way that I can. And it's so cool to still be able to get to know these players who are obviously not that much younger, but a little bit younger than I am. And still be able to, go and talk to Coach and JT and Coach Rocha and just be a part of, and Jackie Livingston, and still just be there to see everything that this program has done and is continuing to do. My family is still there. My parents are still in the stands, and my son, my husband, my daughter, everyone's there. It's really cool to kind of see it come all full circle now that I'm older and in my 30s and well washed up and away from the playing of the game, but still being able to be a part of the program and still be able to meet all of these people and the unbelievable parents of all of these players. And it's really awesome.
That's so cool. DJ Sanchez, color voice for OU softball, former OU pitcher as well. DJ, you are the best, and I mean that. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.